total?
Okay, this is our Friday, November 12th, 2021, 12:30 p.m. agenda budget meeting. The budget meeting. Ms. Katie,
No, we're gonna start with Kayla.
call for order. Is this a happy sign voting meeting? So
No, sir, it's just, I'm really just gonna go over what I added in from last month. It's basically the same thing, except for I put in Mr. Tom's request on the salaries for him and Chelsea. So it's added into there, and then Emily has some equipment I added in, and she has the breakdown and the quotes for that. Sir? Also, just go through the general fund. Yeah, go through the general fund. Okay, the general fund, basically, the projected fund balance beginning is $12,466,017. The budget revenue is $14,917,530. Expenditures is $15,250,075. Ending balance is $11,722,522. Do y'all want me to go through all of them? Okay. I mean, it's the same thing, basically the same thing last month.
I would say the most important column is the second to last column, that projected surplus deficit for the year 2022. That's the budget you're adopting. If it's got a negative, that means we didn't have enough revenue to cover what we're projecting to expend. If it's positive, that means we're good. And if you see a negative, that means you have to tap into your surplus funds to fund those expenditures. But that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I was about to go to, once y'all, okay, so that is, it's like a grant, Katie, I guess you could say, COVID relief fund we received, and there's only certain things we could spend the money on. So basically, I think we already projected and have it spent for next year. If
You mean we don't have it, we already spent it?
Well, we got it in, so hold on. Let me find it.
We received the money.
615,000?
600, no, well, we spent some of it this year. Let me find it in the back. If you look on page 39, you'll see where we received the money this year and we spent it out, some of it this year, and then we'll spend the rest of it next year, in 2022.
All right, on this percent change with the negatives, is there other monies coming in that you still haven't received from FEMA or someplace else? Or are these just all going to continue to be negatives on the budget, on the general fund?
Oh, for the general fund?
Yeah.
General fund, the main reason why you have that negative is because you have the $2 million capital outlay budget item. If you take that out, we have been taking that out every year, so we've been adopting a balanced budget. But when we put the $2 million in this year, that's mainly to cover and fund any PW projects that maybe we don't have, we haven't secured funding for, or it's to cover that 10 to 25% non-federal share. So we went ahead and put that $2 million back in the budget. It doesn't mean we'll spend all $2 million, but if we spend all $2 million to cover all of the fund, all of the FEMA non-federal share allocations, then we will tap into our surplus funds by $743,000, which is not bad. There were years where that number was $2 and $3 million.
What all can you spend on that money of that American Rescue Plan Act? What is the criteria there?
The main thing is you either have to use it to make your, like what, one of our budget items is to make this room, virtual friendly. So we're revamping the meeting room to make it to where in the event that we have to have a virtual meeting because of COVID, we would have it set up to where you could all dial in and vote electronically. So that's like an allowable expense. The biggest thing that you're gonna spend it on is your system-wide improvement plans for your water systems. Clean drinking water is one of, and sewer are one of your allowable expenses. And so that's kind of what we've been using to fund the Myers and Associates System Improvement Plan to do parish-wide water improvements in each community. That's something they've been working on. And you can use that to set, so we're applying for $15 million. Well, Cameron Waterworks applied for $15 million grant to consolidate their operating system, Branch Near Creole, Cameron, and even be able to maybe sell water to Johnson Bayou. It was just a grant that they applied for, $15 million. Well, you would be responsible for that 25% cost share. Well, you could use this ARP funds as your share, your cost share to offset it. So there's different things you can do, but that's really about it. I think another idea, Mr. Scott Laverne had an idea about updating our GIS mapping system. That's an allowable expense. It's really, there's lots of ways you can justify it, but the common theme is to do either make it a healthier, safer place for the public during a COVID pandemic. And you have so many years to spend it. Well, 5 years to spend it.
We want to make sure we spend it.
Yes, and we may possibly get more next year.
Mhm. Yeah, we get half now, we'll get half later. Our allocation was like 1.2 million.
Gotta be some water system that needs some money.
Yes.
We all still got a ball on.
Yeah, as far as
So I know a big topic usually is roads, doing road improvements. I know a few of you have some roads in your area that you want either elevated or re-overlaid. So we have in your road and bridge maintenance fund, you are actually for one of the first times adopting a balanced budget. You're gonna have a $14,000 surplus. Even with that $355,000 worth of equipment you're making Emily buy.
We ain't talked to Emily yet, so that don't
Right.
finish that 14,000.
Well, Emily's
Yes.
leaving us now, so she leaves
A
extra
surplus
money.
last year, yeah. So,
I bet
but,
you the next person messes that up.
Oh,
but as encouraging
Yeah,
as that is, that we're gonna have a surplus in road and bridge maintenance, it is worth the wait to let some of this federal funds trickle down. They just passed an infrastructure bill that can be used just for doing road improvements, especially in rural areas. So we're also gonna get some CDBG funds, that probably next April or May we'll start being able to apply for. So I know that the budget looks good right now for road and bridge, but it's gonna be worth waiting a few months to start making those plans on which roads you're gonna, there it goes.
How's that money gonna get allocated? Are we gonna have to request for certain projects, or are they just gonna allocate so much per parish?
Well, it's based off of a formula, mixed with population and disaster and whatever your individual assistance funds were. So they're gonna tell us how much money we have, and then we have to come up with an eligible project, and the jury is gonna decide what those projects are. We'll have to have a series of some, public hearings, some town community, meetings. I think we're gonna start those maybe in January and February, start talking about these projects, but ultimately it's the jury's decision on what project you're gonna apply for.
how about like, if one of our roads stayed underwater because of storms and whatever, these roads are tore up now, or messed up now because of the water sitting on them for so long, will that be eligible for FEMA reimbursement to redo
Yes.
these roads?
And we actually have quite a few FEMA PWs out there right now. The damage assessments have been completed. They have been submitted to FEMA staff for project formulation. The only one, I think the one that's furthest along was, which road was that they want to do hazard mitigation on? Crossfire Road, yes. That's the furthest along, but we do have them all documented and submitted to FEMA, along with 300 other PWs.
Hey, can we talk with the state and see what their plans are for 27 north of Hackberry?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, really and truly, we've been waiting on this for years, and
I think they're gonna put a tunnel over
And they are
they may
gonna,
have to.
the state is gonna receive some of this infrastructure bill funds too, so, and they're gonna submit their list of priorities on projects. And so we can call another meeting with Sean Wilson and remind him that that's a problem. And I also submitted that project through Capital Outlay.
Well, since, you know, we're getting deeper water or higher tides or whatever you want to call it, you know, that road gets water on it almost every week. And you get a south wind blowing now, the water gets on the road. I'd really like to see something happen to it pretty soon before the next hurricane season anyway.
We need to get that intercoastal dredge and let it off.
Yeah.
So we can keep all that water from coming on 27, it's hitting 27.
Yeah, going in the tip channel, getting to 27, that's it.
Scott, you starting something, you fixing to talk?
No, we don't have, but it's washing against 27 right there past, right off the Creole there.
Yeah,
All that water comes
at the bridge.
in.
Y'all need to start barking.
That's true.
I never did have the right person to talk to. I wish I watched too much news, I guess. I got too many
You
opinions.
got too much spare time. So Emily, what do you want?
Okay, I have a list.
I have a list.
Well, actually, I have a list.
Last year,
Oh,
Yes.
last couple months,
Well, I'm gonna.
this is a
the last
wish,
budget.
you know, Christmas is coming up, this is your wish list?
No, and actually, y'all, there's gonna be some stuff missing on here.
Oh,
We
man.
have
See, I never
tried-
taught you better. You'll
Yeah.
always have more things than you can.
Well, we have tried our best to have y'all a quote on a spreadsheet.
Lee, she takes care of her business a little better than you did.
So,
I don't see another,
Well, she don't
culvert cleaner on here.
okay, well, on the culvert cleaner, I was asked to get a quote on a vacuum truck, one of the sewer jet trucks, and I got y'all a quote, it's $500,000.
You come on, a gap back truck?
Yes, what Mr. Thomas had talked about a couple months back, and it's $500,000. And it took me forever to get a quote because he did not want to give me the number. He kept hoping that it would go down because he was trying to find different avenues. It did not go down, it's 500. And that's the problem with the spray truck. No one wants to give us a quote on a spray truck because we're asking for a budget number because we're not buying until next year. So honestly, I don't have a number on a spray truck whatsoever. Shane and him and Susie went to Calcasieu Parish and kind of looked at some of their spray rigs and talked to the guy that sold all theirs. Because there's different ones that they do have. We had that bigger truck, and what I was trying to do is to get back to the smaller truck. That way, it won't cost you as much to run it because you get your pickup truck and then you go from there. Nobody will give us a quote.
Tell you what, that gap vac can be used for a lot.
Yes, there is a smaller, there is a smaller one, that runs about 345, but the tank that you suck out with is 4 yards. So you can't use that. No. And the next size,
back to 17 over.
I know at the plant, they use them things to, instead of using a track hole and all these yards, all the conduit and water line, all these other lines, they're using that gap back with a hole in it and they wash them, they do
okay,
everything.
they're nice, but, yeah.
Is
Expensive.
that bad, Lee? You gotta turn around so you don't talk?
I bought the first one, the fanciest one they had was 225,000. So they done doubled in 10 years.
So, on the spray, on another, culvert cleaner,
Better buy one
I
now.
didn't write one down because I wanted y'all to kind of tell me how y'all felt. The one that we did purchase, we did it through a piggyback through another parish, and that one was around 62,000, and that is not on that list. The two older ones, right now, they're actually, I hate to say that because I'm gonna jinx them, but we kinda got them working again, but it's like, it seems like as soon as you start, something happens. Never mind, one broke Wednesday.
Y'all got a new one though?
Thanks, Shane.
We have one brand new and we have two old broken ones.
It was on the other thing, what was that?
Thanks for starting.
I remember I seen it, but they had some kind of like a plunger looking thing that they would stick on your track hole and shove it
The only
through there.
problem you have with that, we did talk about that also, that is good for driveway culverts. That, you cannot run that through 100-foot culverts or
Oh,
different
no,
things.
oh, no.
And what's bad, a lot of places, not so much down here, but almost everything in Grand Lake is closed in. So that, you cannot use it for every job, it just depends, no, sir. Back in the day, before, September 2013, if you paid, we would close in your culverts. And so everybody took advantage of it. Well, now we don't do any of the beautification jobs, but that piece of equipment would not work in the Grand Lake area, and probably some places in that area too.
Oh, yeah, I got,
A lot
still
that's
got a
closed.
lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Emily, on this,
I got an email today.
540M loader for Klondike, what kind of loader is this?
That is just the bucket.
Oh, okay.
We have the tractor. We already have the tractor. We just need the loader itself. And we have all the connections and everything, so it's just the loader. What happens in
On
Klondike,
the tractor.
we were in the middle
Oh,
of doing a job and when you
front-end
need to
loader,
load something, you would have to run all the way back to the barn to load whatever you need and then actually go back to the road. Don't look at me like that, it's your fault. I can say that today. Your fault you didn't buy one. So anyway, and what happened was when we went, because we don't really get that, I hate to say that, but sometimes we don't get a lot of culvert jobs or different things, but when you do, you get in a bind if you on the other end of the parish, because we still have Laurie to deal with, plus Klondike. So we just won't, because we have the tractor.
On the skid loader, have you tried any other brands besides Cat for its price-wise? I know it's state contract, but state contracts are all different pricing.
Yes, we had kind of looked through them, and actually that one was the cheapest. This is for a second one, this one right here. The first one we applied to apply for a grant, and it should be any day that we should get some more paperwork, letting us know when we're gonna get paid. So we actually will be purchasing two. I think we gotta pay about, was it 12,000, Katie? 12 or 15, I think. I think it's about 12 or 15 that that Road and Bridge would have to pay off of the grant because we didn't get enough money to cover it. But this one would be coming from us.
Is that like the high flow on the front end?
It has the broom, it has everything on it, every attachment you can ask for, things. So I think
Now they're 174,000.
What have we done all that for?
Cutter, if you want to cutter.
You don't have everything.
no, the cutter's the only thing that we did. It has every other thing that comes with it.
And all this is included in that
Yes,
71?
everything's included with the 71.
And it's a 279, so it's not a high-flow machine.
Sir,
It's a standard flow machine, it's not high flow.
I don't know what that means.
I don't think you can get us the high flow in a 279. I want to check on that.
It depends on your,
To
what
work
you're
the broom,
putting
you don't have
on.
to be high flow?
Nope,
If you're using a grinder, you gotta have high flow.
only a grinder, well, a grinder and a couple other things, yes. But not for a brush sweeper and small stuff, grapple buckets.
Buy more.
So, and then the other question that,
Budget.
I know that we've knocked around back and forth and stuff, and, I'm not sure if that's gonna be considered into, like, for us to wait for next year and stuff. I don't know if it needs to be a budget item, or let's wait till we get the money in. But y'all had talked about that Pelican Point Road, about raising it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if, that is something y'all wanna put in the budget, or if y'all wanna wait till we get some funding.
Get funding from where?
The grants and stuff that we were talking about, to raise the rest of the roads.
I thought we had done decided we was gonna go ahead and go with it.
I thought we said we were
Kayla,
doing
stick it in there.
Okay.
I think we already.
We needed a formal approval for y'all to tell us to stick it in there.
Yeah,
I thought we already done that.
You have to quote it, huh?
we had done, but,
I thought we were gonna, looking for, the study on what to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, we've done all that, and that's what I had brought
Yeah,
back.
they said don't dig it up, because you mess it up.
Right, you
Yeah,
gotta
you
just
tear up the
build up, you
foundation.
can't dig it up.
And it's like 120 without, well, I'm not exactly sure what the price would be right now, but it was at 120,000.
I'll put it in there.
I got a question that have anything to do with this.
Yes, sir.
On the Long Beach, is it Long Beach Road, where they put the pipe over the road? You been down there?
I haven't been here recently.
Did somebody get a permit from us to do that?
No, they didn't even ask for permission.
Well, are we taking any liability with that being on the road?
On the side of the shoulder, on the shoulder?
No, it's right on top of the road. They built a one-lane mound over it. You ain't been there? You check it out.
I ain't been over
I assume that they got permission from somebody to do that because that's a public road.
They didn't actually put the pipe down the side of the road.
Well,
And that
It's
falls
crossways?
half and half
Yes,
on the
sir.
parish right away and on the private.
I went over it the other day and I was saying, boy, somebody drinking better not go over this road because it's 20 feet off and they put it right there in the old bayou. I mean, if they fall, then not only do they fall off the hill, they fall into the old bayou.
Me and, when did we go? About a month ago?
All right, we'll
About a
check
month
on
ago, we-
that.
I know, it's offline, but I want to make you aware of it and I didn't think about it too
Because
much.
me and Shane went about a month ago and they hadn't done that yet.
Well, they doing it now.
No.
Okay, we'll go check on that.
This list is kind of skimpy. Is this really all that we need?
I think it's pretty
Well, ain't much
good.
of a wish list, huh?
That's what I tell them.
I can add some more.
No, if you don't need it, you don't need
No.
If you
it.
don't need it, no, but I'm like,
Well, is
I
this
mean,
the time, is this the
another
time
culvert
to
cleaner,
put that back truck
another
on
culvert
there?
cleaner
Or we
wouldn't
gonna
be
wait
bad,
another
because you can
5
sell one
years
of the
and
ones
let
that
it
are
go
always
up?
breaking out. You can flip a quarter to this one that's
$200,000.
always broken.
I think it ought to be on.
That's a good.
We need a
What's
marshal
it for?
machine. Huh?
A marshal
So we need that as well, but as far as that culvert cleaner, I'd like to see another one because every time they get one, they take the nightmare and break it. Every time.
And then I take it, I know Alex, he was getting frustrated the other day because he's the one that's repairing it.
And I got a bunch of culverts that they need to, they're trying to get to do.
Okay, so if y'all are fine with that, I can get Kayla the quote,
It's a gap back
and
or
she
is
can
it
add that in later.
So what was the cost of the gap back?
The 500,000.
And how many yards?
No, that's the, he never did come out and say, he said it's the next size.
17
Yes,
yard?
because the one that was like around 325, 345, that is a 4-yard, and that is way
No,
too
you
tiny,
got
you
that
can't
17.
use that.
No.
Now, the only other thing you could do with something like that next year, instead of, I'm not sure how you would do it with the budget, but I mean, you could do like, written proposals, you can go out for a bid, I mean, you go out for a bid, you would have to reject them if they come in way too high. Because of the amount it's gonna be anyway, you would have to go out for a bid. And maybe the prices would go less, I doubt it, but
I think we ought to try anyway, shoot.
they're nice, I mean, and you
I'm
can
gonna
do
tell you,
other stuff with it.
That truck could do 20 times the coverage as that little unit we got.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't gotta do nothing. That thing sucks it and
Well,
pulls
once
it
you,
out.
yeah, once you fill it up, I mean, you're not having to go back and refill the truck for water or any of that, but it's a big
I
amount.
still think we ought to go up.
I didn't turn it down.
Well,
It's
well,
gonna
I
be-
think so too.
Y'all too hot out
Put it
there.
in the budget, we'll look at it when we get the bids in.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still put it in the
There's one
budget.
thing you gotta do. We don't want a Bible. It needs to be either a Kenworth or a Little Peak, because I had some Bibles and they stayed in the shop. Not the back unit part, but the engine of the truck, you know. So we need to stay with something.
And what they
that's
can do too is, one of the things he said, like, they can bring something down for us to like look at and
Yeah.
stuff like that, that way to kind of get some ideas, and I'll, whenever it's time, whatever, they can make an arrangement and try to see if, you know, however many drawers you wanna come and look, you know, to come see kind of,
They
where
don't
y'all
have-
can have some input.
They don't have any tank units, that doesn't, or trailer unit type like that?
Not
that
what
big.
we were talking about.
See, this thing's got the reel on the front. It sends it, pulls it back, and it's sucking at the same time.
You do it all
It's a
with one
one-man
truck.
operation.
You're not pulling it with another truck, you don't have to go empty it.
Then we had to hire some people to run that truck too.
No.
Two people, yeah.
You can
Minimum of 2
you can
people.
train them, you can train what you have.
Huh?
You can train your employees that you
Like I
have.
said, you got to hire some people to run this truck.
No.
Yes, you will.
That's shit, yeah. Put it down.
I think we ought to go up for bids anyway,
So, okay, how
just to
would you-
look at it. I mean, golly,
How do you, do you
so we
just,
we
They
constantly
probably
have
have
to
one
do
on
that.
state contract.
for 500,000?
Yeah.
Because the tractors, they wouldn't put them before if they were over 100,000.
No, there's probably one on state contract. We can call, Calcasieu Parish or the city of Lake Charles and see where they buy theirs. I bet they buy it off state
Yeah,
contract.
see what kind of truck it's sitting in.
With the number of culverts that we're having to clean, I mean,
There's a lot of them running around.
I'll see you here later. The gap back brain, you just can't beat it.
So,
So,
to clarify, Miss Emily, you want to purchase one of these trucks?
vacuum cleaner truck?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on what it's gonna come out.
Yes, she does.
yes.
Yeah,
She does?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
She didn't know it, but she does.
I'm gonna spend a lot of money right when I'm walking out the door.
There you go.
You gonna try.
There goes your surplus, huh? Yeah.
Okay,
We won't blame you for 3 or 4 years at least, anyway.
Well, she's still blaming you.
That's right.
That's right, you've been gone since what, 2013?
Like 6 years.
Yeah, 20.
You back,
Is she gonna come back as a juror and be wrong side of you?
I run again. She's probably 40.
so the second agenda item is, the third is the comp time limit for payroll. And so as it stands, we typically restrict comp time rollovers to 50 hours annually. We have quite a few employees, particularly waterwork employees, who weren't afforded the opportunity to take off of work a lot this last year, trying to get their repairs made because of Hurricane Laura. And so we would request to increase the 50-hour comp time limit to 200 for this year only. And by next year in 2022, it is back to 50 hours. Now, you don't lose your comp time, you just have to get paid for it. So they will get paid for everything over 50 hours at the end of 2022. But for this year, they would be allowed to roll over anything up to 200 hours. But if they have anything over 200 hours, they will have to get paid for it. And so the choice is really yours. Are you going to allow us to increase it to 200 or not? I think 200 is a fair amount. That's, 5 weeks. Anything more than that becomes a financial burden on the parish. And then every year that they work and they get raises, that comp time that might have been earned at $10 an hour, now when they want to cash it out, is going to be worth $20 an hour, and that's just something that it's hard to budget for.
Yeah, this is just a one-time deal, though.
One-time thing, instead of 50
I
hours
mean,
this year.
we, in the
200.
past 3 years, we have given up so much stuff, carry over extra 40 hours a week. When are we gonna stop? When are we gonna stop,
I
guys?
agree, right after this.
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with you.
Well,
Should we
like-
Why don't we
vote
just
on
pay them to stay home all year?
Pay them this year or pay them next year.
They stayed home almost all this
You gotta
past
pay
year.
them. You gotta pay them. They got comp time, you gotta pay them.
They're gonna get paid for it, yeah, it's
They gonna
just,
get paid for it, or they can,
or do
next
they
year or this year?
take it off,
Stay alone.
take
Just
off
soon pay them
next
this year and
year?
get it over with.
It's like your waterworks, right now, like your waterworks, you gotta take all these, tests, all these samples.
Mhm.
So if they work in 4/10s, I don't know how they work, but they work 4/10s, just say. So that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 12 hours a weekend. They get a 4-hour minimum is what it is.
Mhm.
So 12 hours every weekend, so 12, 24, 48 hours a month, just.
Yep, yes, sir.
We need to go back
Every other
to
weekend.
5 8-hour days then.
But it depends on
Every
who's on the
water work
One of
district
them-
does it
one of them
differently,
take it one
though.
weekend, the other take it-
Right, if they got somebody to rotate with them, yeah.
Every waterwork does it differently. It's up to the water district right now to make that determination. Some water districts, they alternate their guys' work schedule to where they're not earning comp time, so they may be off on a Monday because they went and checked their residuals or residuals on a Saturday
And they're required.
instead.
Do y'all bill that back to the
They
waterworks?
have to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waterworks
So
pays for all
Waterworks
their
is paying for
salary
overtime anyway.
and everything.
You could stagger their work week.
They could, waterworks. It would be up to the waterwork district to decide on how they would,
You got a board.
that's what
they're
their board's
supposed to
for,
be doing.
yeah. All we do is process their payroll for them. Like I said, every waterwork district does it differently. The only one that you would be on 100% in control of to allow us to limit comp time would be the road crew. They sometimes work 4/10s. They just went back to 5 days a week, but, and when the time changes in the spring, they'll go back to 4/10s, and so they get a lot of comp time on Fridays and Saturdays, particularly Fridays.
I thought we were gonna keep them on 8-hour days.
That's
We can do that in the spring, absolutely.
We need to fix it where they work 5 days a week instead of 4. Because it's costing us,
Didn't we
the
done
parish a
talk
lot of
about
money.
this?
Yeah, we did.
Didn't we done talk about this?
We did unofficially.
Yeah, not
A
here.
little bit. Like you and I talked about it. but not the jury as a whole.
What y'all wanna do? I wasn't supposed to be
That's almost 600.
But that's-
600 hours a year, they just not.
You can call me.
But they're 5 days a week right now. And they can stay 5 days a week. In the spring, if we keep them 5 days and get rid of their change when the time changes.
I always said it wasn't a good thing,
Wow.
but
But back to the comp
not
time.
what the crew wanted.
Do we need to put this on the voting agenda and let everyone vote yes or no? Are
I
y'all
don't wanna
okay
move
with
forward. I
us
wanna leave it like it is. That's up to y'all.
temporarily? It
They
doesn't-
what- they what?
Yeah, you need to make a.
Well, I
Leave it
think-
like it is.
I think.
It seems like we have a little bit of conflict, so we'll just do
No,
it
no,
as
this
an
is for comp
add-on.
time. This is only for comp time.
Add it to the agenda.
Yeah, we'll just have to add it to the voting agenda and,
This is one time,
Just
being
one time.
there was a pandemic and a,
yep, and you guys can vote.
So what
That was
happens
my
next year?
kind
We
of
got
deal.
another pandemic and a hurricane. We're gonna do it again? Huh?
Probably so.
The idea is,
Where do
we
we
ask the
stop?
guys to
Well-
work, and I like to see them get off when they wanna get off, not,
One of the things that we are not talking about here is the reason we started having this conversation anyways, because if they all take their comp time off now, we got no crew.
right?
That's what's happening now, but you can't, I mean, you kind of try to limit of them not all taking off at one time, but you gotta.
they all want
We're
100
gonna have
dollars.
2 months.
they
They're
all-
all gonna
that's
take
it.
it at a certain time of year
It
anyway.
is up to the supervisor to approve leave, and a supervisor can deny leave. So if the supervisor needs a crew, and they do not have, and they have, it doesn't matter if the road crew has annual leave or comp time or not. Supervisor can definitely deny it. We've done it before in this office, actually, as recent as this year. People schedule annual leave, we have too many people out of the office. We tell them, no, you're not allowed to use your annual leave, and we make them come to work. We can start exercising that authority, but
They just
your
got- they
phones
just gotta get
typically
paid
ring
this
when
year,
we
that's
do
it.
that. Sir?
You know, if they roll over, that's the last time, they gotta get paid for any other time they got after that. 'Cause some of
I'm
them had
only
400
requesting
hours.
it a one-time this year
Yeah.
only. It's yes or no. If you say no, then everyone gets paid for everything over 50 hours, and that's that. And they only have 50 hours they can roll over.
So we give them 200 hours, they're gonna take off and get paid anyhow. They won't be here to do work.
But it'll be
Right,
next
it's
year,
paid
not
time
at the
off.
end of this year.
Yeah, so I mean, either way you go, you pay it. One way you got them working and you pay them, and the other way is you lose your laborers
Mhm.
for 150 more hours, 160 hours.
It's
So,
not bad if they spread it over next year and all at one time, that's what's bad. See, if they,
They're gonna take it for hunting season and cow shows
well,
only.
some of them wants, if they can't do it, then they won't take off the rest of the year. It leaves us without no people.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
But if we let them roll it over, they'll spread it out over next
They're
year.
gonna take it next year. You gonna put that in the motion that they have to spread it out, no more, take no more than a week?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can only take a week at a time or whatever.
Or 1 week out of the month?
Yeah, we'll do that.
So in the motion,
So
y'all
we go
want
5 hour,
It'd be a long
5 hour, 5 days a week work, they'll, just say the waterworks just, that's 384 hours, comp time, just, you know, call.
We don't make decisions on the water board.
Yeah, the whole year.
yeah.
Your board and your waterworks will make that decision.
Yes.
not us.
Yep.
You gotta-
Really,
they
it's
want-
the,
well, I
it's
think
the
the main
water work
ones are the
employees
Yeah,
that
but you can't. you
have
gotta-
excess
the water
hours.
board does that, not us.
Yeah, I know, but we over the water board.
What just kind of got me up in the air right now is that we're taking our parish workers and working for the water board. That water board time, they ought to get paid for that. But the time we ask them to work for the parish, we ought to allow them, which would be in that 200 hours. But the ones we're worried about, most of them got 400 hours anyway, so, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I do. That could be something we could handle in-house through our
Yeah.
policy. If any road crew is filling in for a waterworks employee, they have to get paid overtime. They are not allowed to earn comp time.
Right.
And that is something that can be done
We lose our
within
worker.
the,
Didn't
and
we do
actually,
this,
the administrator has all authority for approving comp time and overtime anyways, ultimate authority, so that's something that I can, with your direction, I can make sure that I do.
That's why I always said, take care of it in-house, don't bring it to the jury, because the result might not be what you like.
Didn't we do this last year, 2020, because of the hurricanes?
We waived all restrictions, leave
So
restrictions.
what pandemic,
last
what do
year.
we have this year to offer up for this year?
So,
Did we have a hurricane this year?
No, sir.
No pandemics?
No, sir.
So why are we stating it's for the pandemics and why are we doing it for 21 if we didn't have none?
Nobody took their time on it.
Nobody-
They stayed
yeah.
working, they had to work to rebuild
It's-
things and get things going.
This was over a year ago. This was last year, and they got it last year. So now we're doing it again this year.
Okay, so I guess we'll put it as an add-on for the voting meeting, Mary. And,
Request to roll over 200 comp time hours this year only.
and it's yes or no. Yes, they can roll over 200. No, it's back down to 50 like it's always
Now, what
been.
about the taking it a week at a time?
That's all something that can be done within.
In-house.
In-house.
So this is all we need to do. Okay.
Yep.
Ain't gonna go that way. It never happened in-house.
Okay, so moving on.
You running this or she's running this?
Oh, you ready?
This is actually Kara's item.
No, they gotta talk, right?
Well, I understand they gotta talk, but what's the
All
next
right.
one?
Courthouse pump station, which is the pump right behind our building here.
Who are you?
Right now, I just want to let you guys know, the parish has been putting up front the money for all the pump stations. We have 3 in the town of Cameron. And the parish has allocated about $155,000 thus far. And the courthouse pump, we're gonna have to, do some improvements of the suction pipe. You
Thanks,
notice
sir.
it has, what we can see is a big hole, and the pipe has so much corrosion and it's beyond repairable. There is a couple pictures you can see, that Monty just handed you. So, that cost, we got a preliminary estimate verbal agreement, that replacing that suction pipe would be about $22,000. So, also, we're gonna have to do some bulkhead repairs. And that, I don't really know what that cost would be yet, but, you could probably say about $6,000. And that would be, force account labor, Monty, the road crew would assist in
Right.
rebuilding that bulkhead.
And just, we would get with the drainage board.
So that's where I was, the drainage board, I am gonna bring this to their attention as well. We do have a joint service agreement that the jury and the district had agreed upon in September of 1982. So, and I actually talked to the DA earlier today, and it does say that the parish actually owns the pumps. But there is an agreement that both the parish and the district pay an equitable allocation of the cost for construction. 1/2 to the district and 1/2 to the parish. And from time to time, the parties shall agree to the allocation of the cost of maintenance and repair. So I don't really, I think it's time that we relook at this and revisit and maybe rewrite this joint service agreement, if you all.
Well, ain't this pump, you talking about it pumps up the north side?
Well,
Yeah.
that right behind the sheriff's
Right.
office and all that. Keeps all that out.
But ain't we talking about a new system over here on, preliminary?
Possibility. But you're still gonna have this one too.
It pumps this whole neighborhood out too, right here,
Right.
that drains there.
It kinda pumps out all the way to Jimmy Salvo Road.
So, yeah, I'm just,
No, not this
Not
pump
this
they're
one.
working on.
Not this one, this is
It
right.
just pumps right here, and it pumps it into W1 West.
Right.
Yeah.
It pumps Jimmy Salvo
Yeah.
Road.
But, I thought we maybe combine them two? No?
well, that's where I'm kind of going with this joint service agreement. I know, we'll have more pumps coming in, force draining, and these districts, their argument is their gravity drainage.
What you?
Oh, they gravity drain, they say they
No.
gravity drain, so they ain't gotta operate the pumps.
Well, they used to might be, you can't gravity drain anymore when the tide's higher than the inside.
Yeah. So what it is, what we've been doing is, our little James and them, the road crew, when, and if our little crank pumps up, especially out there, and let them run a little Jane when he's on company time, he'll go crank it up, shut it down, Monty will go check it or something, and what we can do is, they don't mind changing oil and stuff, little things like that.
Paying for the fuel.
Paying, and as long as the board, our board reimburses the parish for the fuel and all oil and
Oil, any parts,
any parts and stuff.
Maintenance.
The board pays, I mean, the,
oil filter, you know.
drainage board pays for all that. We just, we use our local labor to maintain and stuff, you know.
How old is this pump?
They were built in the early, no, actually, it was built September 9th, 1979.
Why don't we replace it with a new one?
Well, we actually, after the storm, we Griner Drilling actually replaced and inspected all the gear drives, and Duval Diesel replaced all the engines.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And we
Why
are
don't we just
looking,
replace the pump, not the engine?
right, I know. We are looking though, to mitigate, get some mitigation dollars from FEMA if, you know, if the PW gets obligated and they approve that. But at this time, this is, you know, we have to get these pumps running as fast as we can because that is the only way to get this water out. So in the meantime, this project, to change out the suction pipe, they're gonna use galvanized material instead of the black iron. So, and put that coating over it, it's less, you know, it won't corrode. And so I did, just as a wish list, maybe to add to that list, I went out and got quotes for a 12-inch pump. And so we received 4 quotes, and just to give an idea, a monthly rental on these, the highest price I received was about $11,000, and the lowest was about $3,300 for a 12-inch pump. So anytime these pumps are down, we may have to have a pump of that size to get this water out. To rent, yes, this is just a monthly rental.
Why don't we just buy a floating pump or?
So I did ask these vendors to,
That you could use parish-wide, if somebody else. needs.
correct, to give us a, like maybe the parish would be, looking at getting a good used portable diesel pump on a trailer on skids that we could use parish-wide, but have it like for max hours of 500. Which they have them out there, but right now they just don't have any available. Their fleets, they don't have enough and they're not comfortable selling anything right now. But I did get a price on a new one. 12-inch is about $115,000 and a 10-inch pump is $89,000. So getting a good used one versus, you know, comparing to this new price, you probably could get one a good $40,000 to $50,000 used pump. So if that's something y'all want me to continue to look for, we can do that.
I know we got a lot of parking out there that sells these big pumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got tractors.
Head wall.
I hear
Just to look at.
We're just talking about maybe a rice field pump.
Backing one in the hole with a tractor and
Well, you got a kill on that tractor, I mean.
Well, I mean, not so much for backup, that you have to rent one all the time.
We are gonna need a pump to pump out the pond at
Yeah, and then we
88
just
too.
received our permit. Actually, we received the state's permit. I'm still waiting on the Corps of Engineers.
Dig that sand or dirt?
Yeah, to dig the pond at
What did we
88.
use before, float pump over there? What was it?
We only have a 4-inch pump, I think, Monty, huh? Is that all we have right now?
What's that?
It's a 4-inch pump?
Yeah, one 4-inch and a 3-inch.
Ain't nothing there.
No.
What y'all wanna do? Look for a floating pump or
I'd rather have just one on wheels. We can use it.
Yeah, it needs to be
Wheels would be
you talking
portable.
about like the tractor, like the rice field?
No, just
No,
a regular
no,
pump on the wheel. Trailer.
Just throw something goes over?
Right.
they're expensive,
Yeah.
very expensive.
Let the-
Diaphragm pumps.
No,
Well, they diaphragm,
the
just,
suction, yeah,
right.
diaphragm gets it run. Yeah.
So we can look at it, you know, getting a good used one.
you can't let no trash get in them.
She's asking for a budget allocation to buy a new pump.
Put it on.
The green.
I agree.
So 100, not to exceed
Not to exceed
$150,000 to buy a pump.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can almost get a
What's the
new one, but
range?
that's
A lot of
fine.
money.
I mean,
Yeah, you can use
If you don't use it, it sits there to.
So, yeah, that's what I was
do you get a
saying.
new one? Do you wanna wait out and try to get a used one? What kind of money you want to spend on a pump?
Let's go look at it. I
I would think a good used one.
You can find them a lot of.
That's the only pump we have in the parish, right? This one here?
Which one? Which one?
This one back
Permanent?
here?
No, we got 3.
No, we have 3. We have
Three?
Red Man,
We got the big one back, yeah, Red Man, I forgot
Red
about it.
Man Courthouse, and W1. And more to come.
So do we buy a mobile pump or not?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think,
Yes.
get it.
How much money are you wanting to allocate?
Price not to exceed
A used one?
Now, you probably 50 grand, you could get a big 12 inch. I would
You wanna
think.
use it, find somebody else's trouble.
And they ain't bad.
They bet.
If they get
We'll go
them,
look at them. Seal's about the only thing.
Yeah.
I don't get motor, I know blow behind that.
80,000?
So yeah, 75, 80,000.
go to 50, you won't buy one.
Huh?
You won't get a used one for 50.
You don't think?
Thomas, why, he falls into the best deals.
Yeah. I mean, like I
Right
said,
now, they-
yeah,
So if we say, permission to buy a used pump
100 grand,
for not to exceed 80,000.
75.
85.
We'll have to come back to you for permission if it's
You
over
get a
80.
deal for 10 more thousand, get the deal.
But look, I'll go look, when y'all find one, I'll go look
Okay.
at it, check it out.
So right now, the courthouse, we've allocated 33,000 so far just to that pump station. So this project will, an extra 30,000, so you'll have about
It's
63,000
not an add-on.
just into that
It's part
pump
of the
station,
budget
getting it back
request.
on.
If we don't get it pumped, the sheriff's, is sewer
Oh,
system
yeah.
gonna go underwater and everything?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, so,
So the sheriff's sewer system goes underwater if we don't pump it.
So what price they agreed upon?
Yeah, what, 80, 75?
Yeah,
said 80.
yeah.
80.
okay.
Okay,
I
well,
hear 80.
80.
we will get quotes and make, what's wrong, Thomas, too much?
Thomas will look at
And we'll come back to you guys.
Thomas, you go
when
wheel
we
and deal
find-
and come back with 40 or 50,000.
I feel like we're gonna
Just ain't
get,
got nothing on this.
yeah, I feel like it's probably not gonna be no more than 60,000.
So
We'll bring it back to you.
that was the first request. The second request was the bulkhead
And
and,
the suction
and
pipe
suction pipe.
replacement.
And what's the budget request?
If they're a
Yeah, we
hazard.
gotta do it.
I mean, yeah, like, we didn't get quotes on the
So
actual.
we're gonna do in-house
doing
as
the
far as
bulkhead.
bulkhead, y'all gonna be doing it?
Yeah.
Monty's gonna do everything.
Monty, would you put the cost on the bulkhead?
You got some help,
Depending on what
Monty?
material we gotta use.
You
How much
have
was the
help?
one in Creo,
You
Monty?
got some of our local guys, our group members that help you?
But we're gonna have to uproot that whole frame if we're gonna fix that bulkhead.
So it's probably gonna be about 40 grand for the whole project.
Price of lumber is very high right now, especially the 3x12s.
Right, and I think we do have some material that may work, that we have on hand.
Build it strong, not weak.
Right,
Don't use 2x boards on something that's got 4x's on it now.
I know, but I need money to build it strong.
That's why I'm saying, be
Say
careful what you
100,000.
say.
5,000 and put the budget line item.
Let's do it right, it'll last another 50 years, we won't be here to see it.
It could be two different things.
I will.
Her thing
I plan for more.
I will.
construction in progress.
I probably won't.
And I think the pump,
Pump for 80 is gonna be.
What else you got, Mr. Katie? Katie, help me, Carrie, you got something more?
Is that both of it, Kara, that you were asking
Is
for?
that it, me?
That's it.
Camera maintenance more?
Yeah.
Is that Katie?
So Grand Lake Maintenance Barn.
Oh,
is-
Grand Lake. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Grand Lake
so
maintenance more.
the original barn was constructed by FEMA, they paid for it. We got about $455,000 for that in insurance money right now for that building. We don't anticipate getting anything extra. So we are writing a PW for it, it's under project development. So I have no clue what PW funds are gonna be allocated to, but what we can give you is an estimate of what, to replace what we had for the road crew needs right now. We, had some renderings that were done.
they're in your packet.
They're in your packet. But just to, where is it at?
It's right behind the budget.
There we go. So if you look right behind your finance agenda, the next page, that is your cost estimate and then your conceptual designs. Estimated, according to our architects, the probable construction cost is 1.2 million. That's what we're looking at. It doesn't mean that's what we have to release and bid as our budget, but that's what their educated guess is. And the picture is on the back. It is the,
No, I don't smoke it.
you see it right here?
It's on, theirs is not front and back.
Oh.
Make $1.2 million little more.
Theirs is the bottom side.
That's to build what was there. So that's why we're talking to you guys, like, do we need to scale this back? What do we need to invest in this? now's the time to have that conversation.
Wouldn't we wanna see?
Scale back way big.
Wouldn't we wanna see if the PW gets obligated?
Yeah.
I mean,
You
before we-
can, you can tell us, let's wait and see. What we do is we submitted what Poche and May developed for us, the estimated probable cost. We submit that to FEMA to see, and then FEMA does their own PW obligation too. And we'll see what they're gonna allocate to the project. Just right now, I don't have that number because it's not that far through the PW formulation process.
How far off are we on that project?
Go ahead, sir. Oh, he's our, this is, someone that works for our architect. Go ahead. You might want to go to the mic. You probably have a million questions.
Well, what, how far is that project, how long does that project take?
How
What you
long does
got?
it take to FEMA?
So Joe, you the architect, he's the architect?
Yes, one of the architects.
Okay, go ahead then.
So the point I wanted to make statement was, when we build back a building that was damaged by the storm, in order to get FEMA funding, we have to build it back to the most current.
Wait, you just want to.
So the steel's heavier than it was before. So there are code upgrades that trigger the increased price. Obviously, all the stuff that's happened with COVID and supply chain, that's also driving the cost up. But typically FEMA does pay for that. The recommendation I would think would be to wait for FEMA to
Yes.
approve the funding. And they'll typically cover it because the upgrades are required. And that, basically the way FEMA wants you to build it back, they want you to harden it every time that it gets destroyed. So that way it.
But there would probably be an NFIP deduction because we didn't have insurance on the building, right?
We did have insurance on
Oh,
it.
yeah, we had
We
insurance.
had content insurance.
Oh, content.
I thought we were obligated to have insurance on a building that FEMA built.
If we didn't own it.
We didn't own the buildings. The building was
FEMA?
never
They should have had
donated
that.
to
That's right, but
us.
that's their fault.
Good for the
When it
goose,
was
good for the
constructed.
gander.
I can call Miss Bonnie Connor and see.
Who dropped the ball?
No, it's not that, it's just to see the paperwork. FEMA just came in and from what I was told, because I wasn't working at the time, but from what I was told, FEMA came in and just built the building, because they were staging all kinds of operations out of it. And then when they left, they just gave us the building, but we don't really have a paper trail of how we inherited the building. And our insurance carriers would not insure something that did not belong to us.
Yeah.
So,
They come in here one day, handed us the keys and said, "This is your building.
yep.
Here you go."
So what probably should have happened is we should have forced FEMA to do like an active donation or some type of CEA with us, something. And if we had it on, because it was on parish property, but because we did not do that, it never got insured. And so that's where we are. So we did get content coverage on it. That's the 400. And if you look at, you still have your project sheet. That it's about halfway down. The $477,000 is what we received from insurance for content.
Have we had this conversation with FEMA already about this building? Have we talked to them?
Yes.
What did they say?
Well, it's going through the PW formulation, so that's where it goes through EHP, it goes through environmental, and all of these issues will be solved before we ever see a FEMA obligation. I don't know if we will receive a FEMA obligation. That's something that only FEMA is gonna be able to determine. And the status for that is, pending DDD is the FEMA probable cost. And when you see something that says the status is pending DDD, that means we are working on signing the final damage determination. And then once we submit that to FEMA, that's when they'll go in and you'll see the dollar figures, what they're gonna allocate, how many NFIP deductions they'll take, they'll account for our insurance, and we'll get to see what that federal obligation looks like.
Do we have any timeline on that?
No, sir. I mean, it is prioritized, it's in FEMA's hands, but how long it takes them, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't really know. We check on it every week, and we ask them, like I said, they have 300 PWs that they're working on. So we did submit them a list of a top 5 projects to focus on daily, but they have, when they submit something, if they approve it, it goes through 3 different reviews within FEMA. It goes through environmental review, it goes through technical review, so everyone's got to sign off on it. But it is a priority project.
And the eastern part of the state's getting in priority over us now.
Yeah, they just give us an answer, you know.
Now, what we can do right now is, go ahead and as soon as we get the final permit, pump the pond out and start hauling all that dirt and start building up the pad, building up the road, because that's always been a problem with staging all of our road and bridge equipment is that the water goes over the road, so you can't get
Can't get to it,
access to it. So that's something that we would wanna start working on now and, get the road elevated. You can use the big pad
Cement
that's
pad.
still there, we might have to do some adjustment to
Is
it.
that at elevation though?
No, sir.
Yeah, it's gotta be elevated.
But the biggest problem with that is if you use FEMA funds, you have to build it to their standards.
Their new code.
So most of the time, they don't recognize the field pad, so they may require us to dig that out and put in some foundation. That is all stuff that our architects are gonna have to figure out to what standard they're gonna have to build to. But if you're gonna build something with FEMA money, you gotta build it their way and to their footprint. And if it's too much for us to handle, our share, our cost share, and you wanna scale it down, then you're funding it with just your insurance money alone and general fund dollars.
And how much was that?
477,000. So we did bring it up today. We want to start talking about it. The sheriff's office is also here. The sheriff apologizes. He wanted to be here, but he's out. He had some dental work and he's just not able to really talk and be here. So now could be the time that you could have conversations with the sheriff's office and see like if they have what their plans are. Right now they're renting a building. They were housed with us prior to Hurricane Laura, their mechanic shop. So we can have those conversations right now. If y'all just want to wait and see what FEMA's going to do with the building, and then have this conversation later after that, then that's what we can do as well.
They kinda gotta see where our money.
Y'all in a bind over the sheriff's department over there?
In a bind, what do you mean?
Timeline to have it built.
We're just leasing from, that building we're in now, so we're just paying a monthly lease for it.
Yeah, I mean, but y'all not in a bind to have the building right now. We
No,
can wait
no,
and see what
we-
FEMA.
You know, we're, you know, yeah.
Is the road crew in a bind?
Because without that, all you had was 400-something thousand, right?
We don't even.
Well, yeah, road
Road
crew,
crew doesn't
all
have
our
anything
equipment's
they're
outside.
storing their equipment under right now.
Huh?
I said, well, road crew, we don't have, all of the equipment's
You
out
have
there.
something for them to get out to eat their lunch in?
I'm trying to get them a camper.
A year?
A camper. I'm trying to we're working on getting them.
It's been a year.
Oh, I know. But we can't build, either we get a
It's
temporary
been a
building-
year.
Well, they have access to the satellite office. Kevin Savoy gave them
Well, so they
access.
got a place to go sit down and eat.
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. They have access to that when they need it.
So
And they
in
still have their bathrooms there.
in
that we
conjunction
can
of
use.
where the size of the building is today, rebuilding it the same size, how big a downsize did we go? With the one that y'all had looked at here a while back, Emily?
That's 60 foot,
And what was the old one?
180.
By,
120 probably.
Yeah, I think 120, 130.
and the new one would have been what?
I think it's 19 by 60.
19 by 60.
The awning is 19 in the front, I'm sorry.
The old one?
60 wide and how long? 120? Yeah, the new one.
The new one is 6,900 square foot.
60 by 100, a little bit over.
And the old one was 120 by 180?
Yeah. The old one had 6 bays, and the new one has 4 bays.
So for FEMA to take over, they'd have to build it like the size of the old one.
Right. You have
It
to put the
has to
same
serve
square
the same
footage.
purpose.
Right.
And square footage.
You can scale down your square footage as long as you still serve the same purpose. We scaled down our library one that way.
You can't go bigger then.
Yeah, you can't go bigger, but you can go smaller, but you still have to have the same scope of services that's provided.
So the quote in here right now is for the same size as the old one.
No, this one's a little bit smaller. It's
For
set up a little
1.3?
bit different. Sir?
For 1.3 million, and this one's smaller? Numbers don't add up there.
Shoot.
Price of steel, the lumber, it adds up.
Look, I just ordered a 70 by 200. It's a Rhino building for 145 mile an hour winds. It was 150,000. So I can't see where it's costing $1 million something to put.
We're talking
the building.
$216
Now, that's
a
just the building,
square
but
foot.
If we order a building to fit that same slab and use our money, there's no way it can be no $1 million.
There's no slab there,
Oh, they pulled the slab up too.
because we don't need a requirement.
Yeah,
Yeah, concrete, 169,000,
We're at 300.
opening, 196,000.
I still don't know why they.
Yeah, I seen the electricity was 100-something thousand. I don't know.
Now, this is just estimated probable cost. I mean, we
We talked about that earlier, Katie. you
can
know.
certainly, yeah, adjust the budget and advertise for bids for what our budget is, and
Yeah,
so you just have to tell us what you want to spend on this building,
right.
what that budget is. If you don't feel like, I mean, you want to wait for FEMA money before you make your decision on whether or not we want to advertise to build this building, we can. But
Man,
if
if
we
you
don't
wait
have
on that
anything in
money,
another
if
by the
you got,
next
It won't be
meeting,
forever.
you gotta, well, it's bad, you gotta follow all their
Criteria.
But you only have 400-something thousand though, if you don't wait on FEMA's money.
we have
Well,
four
I'm
hundred and
telling you, you can almost build
77,000 of
it.
insurance money that we could
Besides
spend,
my
and you
poor
could
salary.
allocate your own funds to it as well, if you wanted.
You wouldn't have to put much with it. what I'm saying.
But it would be ours, it wouldn't be FEMA's.
Yeah. It's up to y'all.
We could,
In the new design, without going with FEMA, is the sheriff's department has a spot in there?
yes, there is a design, we would have to add some square footage to it based off of this one and
Well, maybe they.
add one more bay.
And it's 1.5 because of.
Yeah, it added $200-something thousand to it to include the sheriff's office, to give them a bay.
Jake, you gonna write us a check, Jake?
What's that?
You gonna write us a check for a couple $100,000?
No, I was just sitting back here thinking that y'all are all saying about the price, that it shouldn't cost that much. You see what I'm building in my house?
No, I ain't looked lately.
It ain't much. I'm out of pocket right now $70,000, and it ain't much.
Yeah, but it ain't 1.2.
Yeah, but it ain't even a tenth of what y'all are building. I'm just saying, that's.
So add them tens up to 70, you're doing up to 700,000.
I mean, it's, I'm telling you, it's.
Process.
you're
Bill
gonna-
them up, bill
And
them
I'm
up.
doing everything myself.
Just
Bill them up,
about.
put it in the bank, let them
It's
get
about
out of
200
the
putting it up.
But it-
Kind of get back to working on some of the old equipment instead of sending everything to the shop.
That's not the slab.
But Kurt, no, I'm not gonna write you a check. Just-
He said, hell no.
Can't argue that point.
Chris, you gonna write us a check?
For me?
How much y'all offering to pay to get that bay?
For me?
That's a sheriff question. I can go back and ask him and come back and have a report for you.
I would like that, if y'all be willing to help us out a little bit.
Hey, don't go ask him now. He
Not
just had-
$10
he just had
now.
some surgery, leave that fella alone.
Right now's the perfect
Hey,
time, he might be in La La Land and agree to whatever you say.
He's
He getting more money, and he getting much more money now. Sure, man, he getting much more money.
Yeah, so Kara had an idea, and we just talked to the architect about it. We're gonna, if you guys wanna just sit on this for 1 month and then give the sheriff time to come and talk to you as well, we can see what it would cost to build just to our parish standards, using
Yes.
general fund money, versus building it with FEMA dollars to their standards and see what that
And
costs.
then, and also have what the sheriff's department is gonna need. So that will take some doing between maybe the architect
But
and the
we
sheriff's
kinda had
department.
preliminary
You-
meetings with
you know,
them.
one
It was one day, and so, but yes, we'll have.
One of the reasons we could use our own money, you know, if we build it to their specs, it's gonna be 1 something million. If we can build it for 700, all we gotta do is insure 700.
Yeah.
But if we build it to there, then we gotta,
Right.
Insure 1.2
Costs a
million.
lot
That's
more money.
right. You know?
And we can get it done a lot faster.
Exactly.
And basically, all we need to do is just, get the foundation and the slab work and the building put up. And we got a guy that does carpenter work pretty good
Yeah,
in
for a
here.
little office, all we need, we ready.
And if FEMA wants to write a PW for us, we'll use an alternate project.
Yes,
Polio.
We
We'll
can
use
do
that
that.
money to do an alternate project.
we can do that.
This is Jerry again, one more time. One more, I guess, important part to notice is, if you guys end up paying for it yourself, you're paying the full cost, minus insurance. If you wait for the PW, FEMA will pay for the cost. You have to pay your 10% basically, correct? But you wouldn't be paying, it would still be, the cost of the project is more, you get a better building, that's why FEMA is helping fund it. So that's another
But
way
we
to
have
look
to
at it.
insure for that high dollar, and that's our problem. Our insurance can't hardly.
You have to insure for that high dollar, but the goal of that is, after a hurricane, you won't have to you won't be down 50 buildings. That's the,
Well, I mean, they engineered this building for how many mile an hour wind?
I don't know specifically, it changes as you go in, but it is to the current code, and that's what FEMA is requiring.
120?
Yeah, that's, the building order was current code, 145 mile an hour wind. Now, I don't know if FEMA, I think these buildings are for 200, huh?
Yeah, these are coastal A standard buildings.
So it's 200, I think that's what it was.
It varies, it depends if it gets wind or water, I mean, each location's a little bit different.
We just we gotta figure out some way to cut some of this, because I mean, it's just, we're not gonna be able to afford it.
Yeah, how do you say FEMA's gonna build a better building than what we can build?
Well, they're gonna not take, they're gonna.
I mean,
I'm
we're
not
gonna
saying
get
they're
one.
building a better building than you can build, I'm just saying that in order to qualify for their funding, so, state of Louisiana, and I don't have the exact figure with me, but we've adopted a certain level of building code. We typically stop at, I think we're at 2018, I'm not certain.
Moving into 2023.
FEMA is requiring us to build back to the most current version of all of the codes. So structural codes, wind codes, flood code, I mean, so all of that stuff is a higher level. Sometimes it's subtle differences, but they are a little bit different, and they're making us, that's part of the funding that FEMA gives us, is to make sure that we build back to the most current code.
And then all this extra cost, this extra $600,000, the engineer gets a portion of that much more money, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 With us designing it 4 times, we don't get any money for that. So I want you to understand that we're trying to put back, we're trying to take what was damaged, do a damage assessment, submit that to FEMA. You want to win typically you want to win the PW approval process, so they're paying 90% of the project for you.
But we're sitting here saying we might build it ourselves, and you are the person to build it for us, right?
We're the architect.
We're the customer.
You're the customer.
You're the architect, and
And
you
we
should
might take that-
do whatever we do.
If they
Absolutely,
approve
we'll do
that,
whatever
if
you
they
guys wanna
approve
do.
that PW, we can also take that.
Why would you want to build a $1.5 million
Listen.
building?
No, listen, we can build the building ourselves. Apply for the grant, apply for FEMA. If FEMA awards us, we can use that award on an alternate project, take 75% of the money and do an alternate project.
Then you
don't
gotta
have to build a building.
reallocate that money to whatever you're gonna do with it.
You can do an alternate project.
But you gotta also reallocate the money, right?
No,
If it's allocated to build a building on a PW and you're gonna save it and put it on something else,
Yes, it's called the alternate project. It's just, you
It's an
can't use it
alternate
to
but you gotta
serve
do
the
it.
same
You gotta
purpose.
change paperwork.
yes,
It
but I
does,
mean,
it
you can do
absolutely
another
does.
project. You're not like you're losing all the money that FEMA would have awarded.
What we did last time, at the end, is a lot of these projects that we decided not to use PW funding for, or not to build to replace, we rolled it all into an alternate project, and we used it to cover all of our insurance and NFIP penalties and reductions, and
Well,
just got
that's fine.
cash money for it.
Apply for it,
25% of it on the
but that don't
table.
stop us from building a building like we want instead of a Taj Mahal.
But let me ask you this, if we do alternate project, do we still have to build to FEMA codes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's to build something, yes.
Yeah, you gotta build, you gotta use
We've
it,
done
and you can
that.
only get 75% of the cost.
We've done that in the past in your district, and we put it on a road to blacktop.
Yeah.
Remember
Hey,
that?
I'm good.
No, but seriously, we've done that
No,
for an
yeah,
alternate
we've done that.
project.
But I think maybe next month, or we can call a meeting in between, if you want, between now and then, when the sheriff's available and when we have these estimates. That way you can compare your delta of building it yourself with insurance money versus your delta of using FEMA money, and compare those costs. And
But to be clear, we are in the PW process.
yes, it has, everything's been submitted.
And you're not gonna be comparing apples to apples now, you're
Correct.
gonna be, you are not gonna put back the same building. In other words, you're not gonna put back that 180-foot wide building. You probably
To
put
go with
down-
FEMA, you gotta follow the same footprint, but you can
We do it
downsize
ourselves.
it. That's different.
But a way to maybe make it a little bit cheaper too is you just build a metal building just to store equipment in, and then we maybe just go buy a temporary office type thing that they move in, modular building for their bathroom and their office. Instead of it all being
Well,
under one.
Once the
one
building's built,
building.
we build whatever we need inside, the office building's inside.
You take away space though.
I mean,
Monica can
we
build
can
it.
do lots of different things to get it
Yeah.
cheaper, but.
One thing we need to make sure it won't just, it has enough.
Yeah, you gotta do 140, 160 mile an hour wind.
Yeah, it's gotta have enough,
We beat that
structure
building.
to that thing, not just collapse like
Horses
that.
We
did.
beat that building about like we beat
Thing
the
was
dog.
built
about
pretty
it.
strong, you see what happened to it.
We got executive session to go yet.
Well, you got Mr. Katie, we'll,
So-
we'll about that, beat this horse long
Yeah,
enough too.
I guess we're just gonna, just food for thought, we'll think on it, and we'll come back to you next month with a little bit more information.
Monty done did.
I'm not no iron worker though.
Monty done did, he done slept
I
on it.
keep hearing say we building ourselves, I ain't no iron worker.
You don't climb over 10 foot high?
Not no more, bub, I'm good on that.
Do we have any other budget requests?
6 budget, any more budget
I
requests?
don't think anybody else is here.
March budget.
Marsh machine.
No, hush, next.
No. Cancer.
Okay,
Nothing else, executive session, what we have?
executive session, Sandy's not here to evaluate, so it's just gonna be me. And then, Miss Emily has something, to talk to you about, her notice of her retirement date.
Where we
This
go?
is in this meeting?
Yes,
No, yeah, executive session right now.
Yes.
Yes?
On the agenda.
We need to move to go in executive
So,
session.
executive session.
This ain't a
making the motion.
I guess we gotta do it anyway.
Ain't a vote meeting.
It don't matter. We gotta go in executive
Okay,
session.
Kurt, you good?
I move to
If
go
you
in
wanna
executive
take
session.
action
I'll second.
and add stuff to the voting meeting, then you can.
Yeah, we have a motion and
Yeah,
a
we got a motion
Motion and a
by
second.
Kirk and a second.
Colin.
Kurt?
Yes.
yay.
Yes,
Yes.
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 all yeses.
Executive session.
Yeah.
Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Kurt, by executive session, second by Mr. Lee. All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Yay. Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okey dokey, let's see. So,
I'd like to, no actions taken. I'd like to add on to the voter meeting, a cost of living raise to the voting meeting.
okay, got a motion by Mr. Kurt, second by Mr. Sonny, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, likewise, motion carries. Okay, we'll take that 5, but you had that.
5-minute break, so I can go do this.
Okay, we'll adjourn this meeting and take a 5-minute break.
Huh?
And we'll come back.